Is it possible to learn any language by only watching movies? Yes, but only if you apply the methods I'm about to share with you in today's video. You're probably thinking,
David, this is way too good to be true.
but I actually use this method myself to get to my current English level. Let's be honest, who doesn't like to watch movies? And if we can learn a language on top, that's even better. The truth is, if you don't use this strategy, you're actually missing out on the most fun and effective way to learn languages in 2024. So in today's video, I will share with you first how you can pick the right content for your specific level. Second, a life-changing tool that I wish I had when I started to apply this method. Lastly, exercise that you can do while watching movies and after watching movies to get your language proficiency to the next level. Let's dive right into it. First, let's talk about finding the right content for your personal level. This is pretty straightforward. If the content you're watching is too easy, you will feel bored. If it's too hard or complicated, you will feel overwhelmed. We need to find the sweet spot for your personal level. Think of this as playing video games. Why do you think video games are so addictive? They're so addictive because they are challenging but not too challenging. During the game, we might lose a few times, but the wins are occurring more often overall, and that keeps us motivated. The same goes for language learning. Good rule of thumb is that you should pick content that is slightly above your current language level. That way, you maybe understand like 90% of the content, but you still have 10% left to learn more. This is actually what we call comprehensible input, which was firstly introduced by this handsome man, Mr. Krashen.
We acquire language in one way and only one way, when we understand messages. We call this comprehensible input.
So input is everything that we do passively, everything that we consume passively, like reading or watching movies or listening to podcasts. Output is everything that we do actively, like speaking or writing a journal. So if you want to be fluent in speaking, you need to practice speaking a lot. But especially as beginners, we don't have a lot of knowledge of the grammar or the vocabulary yet. That's why we can't actually do output a lot. Therefore, it's really important, especially as a beginner, to start off with a lot of input first. That's why I love this method, because it's really beginner friendly. So let's take me, for example. I started to learn English in high school, but you know, high school English is not actually the English that people use on a day-to-day basis. That's why I decided to study English on my own outside of school. I could only understand like basic stuff, but as soon as people would talk about, you know, more complicated stuff like business or politics, I would be out. So I personally start off by picking content that used everyday English. If you're in the same beginner level like I was in the past, I would recommend you to pick niches that are really beginner friendly, such as comedy, drama, or anime. My favorite shows back then were The Big Bang Theory or How I Met Your Mother, because they were so funny to watch, and also with my beginner English level, I could understand around 80%. That way, it didn't feel like studying English to me, like sitting in front of a textbook and just like pumping vocabulary into my head. It actually felt like free time to me because I was literally watching my favorite shows in English. And keeping the fun in the language learning is the most important thing when it comes to studying languages. We need to find ways to keep it fun. And here's a pro tip. Over time, as your language skills get better, you can increase the difficulty of the content you're watching. And there are mainly two ways how you can do that. First is by increasing the speed of the content you're currently watching. For example, right now, I'm watching YouTube videos at like 2 times speed, because obviously it saves time, and at the same time, you can practice your understanding even more. Because in real life, sometimes people also talk way faster than they do in videos or in the movies. The second way how you can increase the difficulty of the content is by watching more difficult content. At some point, after I reached B2 level in English, I started to watch more difficult content outside of comedy and drama. I started to watch the Netflix series Suits. In case you know, it's like a law series, and actually, fun fact, that series was the reason why I started with law school in the first place. And obviously the series Suits was way more complicated because they were talking about business and law related stuff. But I naturally was interested in these type of topics, which is why it was still fun for me to watch this harder content. So please pick content that you would naturally watch during your free time. That way I promise you will never ever struggle with learning languages again. Now, as I promised, I wanted to introduce you to the one life-changing tool that I wish I had when I started off. In the past, whenever I watched a movie or a video and I didn't understand a specific word, I had to wipe up my phone, Google the word, and pause the video while I was doing that. That was kind of annoying, made the experience of watching the movie less fun. Well, you don't have this problem anymore because now you can use Lingopie, who are kindly sponsoring today's video. Lingopie is an absolute game changer when it comes to learning languages. They grant you access to a vast library of movies and series in various languages. And here comes the revolutionary part. They have interactive subtitles, meaning a tool that allows you to click on words in the subtitles to get instant translation. You don't have the problem that I had. You don't have to stop the movie, go on Google Translator and translate the words and then keep going. Instead, you can just keep watching, and whenever you don't understand a word, you can just simply click on the word in the subtitle and you get a translation. Isn't that crazy? But that's not everything. You can actually create your own personalized flashcards on Lingopie. So whenever you watch a movie and you encounter a new word, you can put it it into your flashcards and practice them right after.
Okay guys, look at this. You can review your flashcards here and then you will see it over here. And if you're really crazy, you can take a quiz.
But what if I don't know how to pronounce them correctly, you may ask? That's a smart question. Well, Lingopie actually thought about every problem that might arise, because they actually have a feature where you can practice pronunciation by repeating phrases and getting instant feedback. So you're not only practicing your listening skills, but also your speaking skills. I recommend you guys to check out Lingopie, and you guys already know I only recommend you things that I personally use on my own. You can click the link in the description box below. Through my link, you can try Lingopie out yourself for free. Start learning languages by only watching movies. Now in the last part, let's talk about exercises that you can do while you're watching the movies or after you watch the movies. I want you to do only 2 things. Number 1 is what we call shadowing, and that really helps you to practice pronunciation and speaking skills. So how it works is that after every sentence or after 2 or 3 sentences, whatever you like more, you can stop the video or the movie and you repeat exactly what they were saying. You can use the subtitle function for this to really practice pronunciation. I really want you to act exactly like the character in the movies. If you're watching a movie that's like 1 hour, obviously you don't have to do this for the entire movie, because that way it will not be fun anymore, right? Take 10 minutes of the movie and try this shadowing exercise. Second thing I would recommend you to do is to summarize each scene of the movie in the foreign language. That way you actually force yourself to come up with sentences and words in your own mind and then speak them out loud. You even combine this with writing by just writing down exactly what the movie was about. Here's a lot of flexibility for you to choose. If this video was helpful to you, you might want to check out my other video, Why You Understand English But Can't Speak It. See you in my next video.